Black Diffusion Filter, Kaleidoscope, Shimmer Diffusion, Blue Streak, and many more. These are all creative filters, and today let's take a look at what each of them does to your photos and videos, and in which ones you should invest in, if in any. And let's start with the most popular, Black Diffusion Filter, and gradually we'll get into way more creative ones, so stay until the end of the video if you want to see some crazy stuff. So Black Diffusion Filter, also known as mist filter, softens the image by diffusing the light. It also reduces the contrast and blooms the highlights. And people use these filters to get that dreamy look for photos and a more cinematic, natural look for the videos. And now look at Natalie's skin here with the filter. It's smoother with a soft glow, so you don't have to rely on heavy retouching in Photoshop. Now without the filter, the sharpness is harsher and the highlights are more intense. And you can also see how light sources in the background bloom nicely with the filter, adding that subtle cinematic feel. In video, this helps tone down that digital sharpness, making skin look more flattering while keeping a natural texture. And by the way, there are different strengths that give different levels of softness. My favorite is the 1/8 because it's just noticeable, while there are also 1/4 filters and even 1/4 plus CPL filters, which also cut the glare from the glass. So a Shimmer Diffusion filter works similar to a Black Diffusion filter, but with one key difference. It adds a subtle texture glow instead of just softening the image. While Black Diffusion mainly reduces the contrast and blooms highlights evenly, the Shimmer Diffusion creates a more organic, sparkling effect, especially in bright areas. And you can see that on Natalie's skin here. It still softens imperfections, but notice how the highlights have a slight, almost glittery glow. You can also see how light sources don't just bloom, but they take on a more dynamic, shimmering quality, which makes it great for creative or dreamy shots. And same thing for video, it gives a softer, again, cinematic look while adding a subtle texture to the highlights. And by the way, for full transparency, all of these filters are from K&F CONCEPT. I wanted to make such a video for a long time, so I reached out to them, pitched the idea, and they said, sure, and simply send me these filters so I can make this video for you guys. And I've used many different filters, but I really love what these guys are doing. High quality glass, really good price, always comes packed in nice pouches or cases, screws on well, has coating, and always comes with plenty of cleaning cloths. But I'm impartial, I have the freedom to say whatever I want, and I can honestly recommend these filters to you guys. Now, that out of the way, next up we have the Blue Streak filter. This one is designed to sort of like mimic that classic anamorphic lens flare you often can see in like Hollywood movies. It takes bright light sources and stretches them into a horizontal blue streak. It works best with the strong light sources like headlights, street lamps, or the sun reflecting off the surfaces. And honestly, I would mostly use this for videos because, you know, that's where you use the anamorphic lenses and you get the same effect without having a lens, which is pretty cool. Have you seen those ocean shots with almost unrealistic sunlight glittering over each wave? Girls love that stuff on Instagram, and that's exactly what the star filters do, but in a more controlled way. And if you look closely at the filters themselves, you will see all these lines going across everywhere. So I actually have a set of 3 filters with the 4, 6, and 8 point options. And the number basically corresponds to how many flares you will see from each light source. And it works best for like really bright light sources, again, like street lamps, headlights of the cars, or even, you know, when the sunlight is reflecting off the water. Now let's get into some really creative filters. First up is the Kaleidoscope Filter. This one adds a trippy multi-reflection effect to your shots, creating a series of repeating patterns and reflections, almost like looking through kaleidoscope, hence the name. It's fantastic for abstract, experimental, or like music video work where you want to create something visually striking or surreal. You could also use it in fashion shoots or any other project where you want to add just like an extra layer of creativity and complexity. But a quick warning, it should be used carefully. It can quickly overwhelm a shot if overused. So when applied thoughtfully though, it can take your work to the next level. And lastly, we have the Spiral Halo filter. This one's perfect for creating that dynamic swirling effect around a subject or a light source. It adds a unique spiral pattern that can give your shots a mystical or almost hypnotic vibe. Again, great for music videos, artistic projects, or any other work that needs a bit of extra flair. And just like with Kaleidoscope Filter, do not overuse it. So which one should you be getting? The Black Diffusion 1/8 is a must-have in my opinion. It's the most versatile filter that softens skin, gives that cinematic look, and works for almost any shot, photos or videos. The rest comes down to personal preference, and if your budget allows, I really encourage you to experiment with a few of them, especially when you already know what you are creating. And thank you guys for getting this far. I hope you learned something new today, and if it's not too much to ask, subscribe if you haven't already, as it actually allows me to create such videos for you more easily. See you in the next one. Bye.